Hello, everyone. Happy May. We're almost done this month. I think we have 1 week left, which is crazy to me. And then next month is Black Music Month, so I've been thinking about that. And before we start today, as always, obligatory self-promotion. What if I ruled the world? Poems inspired by music by your boy. Always linked in the description, always linked in my link tree. And today we're here to talk about Fragments by Marilyn Monroe. And it's a book of poems, intimate notes, and letters by her. It's edited by Stanley Booktok. Hope I said that name right. And Bernard Comment. They're the ones that put everything together for this book. And I love the back cover. I also love the front cover. Trying to get it without the ring light glare. Hopefully my microphone is good because this thing is heavy. So I didn't want to try to hold my mic and this book. So let's talk about it. So it's a biography. The author is Marilyn Monroe. I found a condensed version of her biography, but of course, this is not all of her life. So Marilyn Monroe was a defining actress of her age. I don't know why I couldn't read that word. Born in Los Angeles in 1926, Marilyn first gained notice for Small but Memorable Rose in the Asphalt Jungle and All About Eve in 1950. Over the next decade, she starred in numerous films, including Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, which I'm pretty sure I reviewed. No, I think it was a different movie. Something Like It Hot, How to Marry a Millionaire, and 7 Year Itch. I think it was 7 Year Itch, maybe. I feel like I've reviewed How to Marry a Millionaire. How to Marry a Millionaire. Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. I've either seen it, maybe I haven't reviewed it. I think I've seen it, but I haven't reviewed it. I should do that. Acclaimed for these and many other performances, Marilyn also studied with Lee Strasberg at the Actors Studio. She died in 1962, and it was released, this book, October 11th, 2010. And the synopsis is Fragments is an unforgettable book that redefines one of the greatest icons of the 20th century, revealing Marilyn Monroe's humanity nearly 50 years after her death. While Marilyn's image is universally recognized, her serious gifts as an actor were sometimes eclipsed by her notoriety and the way the camera fell helplessly in love with her. Now, for the first time, readers can meet the private Marilyn and understand her the way we have never before. Beyond the headlines, and two familiar stories of heartbreak and desolation was a woman far more curious, searching, witty, and hopeful than the world. Oh shoot! Hold on. Let me restart this sentence. I feel like I'm reading two lines at the same time. Beyond the headlines, the two familiar stories of heartbreak, desolation, was a woman far more curious, searching, witty, and hopeful than the world got to know. Fragments is an unprecedented collection of Marilyn's own handwritten artifacts, notes to herself, letters, and even poems, never before published, along with rarely seen intimate photos. Kind of a long description. But it's jotted in notebooks, typed on paper, or written on hotel letterhead. These texts reveal a woman who loved deeply, strove to perfect her craft, and was unsparing in her self-analysis. Mary's easy grace, deceptive lightness, and shimmering tragedy emerge on the page, making this essential read for anyone seeking to understand the woman behind the icon. Kind of a mouthful. So I'm going to talk about my pros and my cons and my overall opinion, and I'm going to share some stuff that I thought was cool from the book. So, of course, my number one favorite thing was the poems. I'm going to share some later, but I love the poems, of course. I'm a poet, and I think she was a great poet. I think she was masterful. She got away with words and imagery, and I love that part. I also love seeing her cooking and her cooking notes slash recipes. Like, she has a part in the book. Do I talk about it? My favorite parts. But anyway, there's a part where it's just about her cooking recipes or her planning for like a dinner party. It's so meticulous. She has everything she's gonna have. She has all the people that are gonna be there, and if they have a +1 or +2, she has all those notes. I thought that was a really cool, cute touch. You don't really think of her as like a cook type, because it has that dumb blonde stereotype of her. And yeah. And then there are some pictures that I love in this book. As a matter of fact, let's talk about one of them. On page 228 is her favorite picture of herself. I'm going to show that. And she loved sending it to fans when they would send her letters. I hope this is a good angle. And she would sign it. And this was her ultimate favorite picture of herself. And it's really beautiful. It's one of my favorite pictures of her. I like it because she loves it. But there is one picture of her in like this black dress. And it's just so beautiful to me. And I have tons of pictures of her. So it was always nice seeing all the different pictures. And since they talked about her loving books and things like that, which let's go to the book picture. Where's the book picture? Oh, it's actually 2 pages before that. Close the book right before that part. Okay. Oh, and then these were all her favorite books. I love seeing that. I don't know if you're going to be able to read any of this from over here, but I'm going to talk about them. So she had Madame Bovary, which sounds cool. Paris Blues. Oh, that one was by Gustave Flaubert. Paris Blues is by Harold Flender. And she had many different kind of things that she liked. She loved what is his name? John Steinbeck. So there's a book from her library. Once There Was a War by him, and The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. And they were talking about how she had some classic ones and some contemporary for that time. I just thought that was so cool to see her actual library that she had. And then her notes in general were really interesting. Let me see if I can find one. Because so basically, a lot of these they would recreate onto a clean piece of paper, type it out. And they would keep her trying to find a really good example. She would write arrows for certain things, and they kept that in there. Oh, and then I'm probably not going to be able to find that page again after I just saw it. But there's a drawing that she did. It's on here, but it's really faded, So they recreated on there. And I just love that. They kept the lines and the scratch marks that she did when she was writing. Of course, my dryer wants to go off right now. So you can see the scratch marks, and then they kept it where she crossed out things on this side. I'm trying to find I should have put a example in my notes where they had her arrows and things, but they did a really good job of that. Oh, here's a good page. So if you can see on this page, possibly, but on this page, you can see all of the arrows to things that she had, and they recreated it on this page. And I really love those little details that they did where she's referencing something else, so she puts the arrow to all these different places. I feel like that was such a nice, cool touch to keep her notes intact and how she wrote them, just in typed form. Let's see if you can see the red lines. Of course, the red lines going to the different things. We're gonna pretend like we can't even hear that. Anyway, but I love that. Those are all my pros. But let's get to the cons. Her letters, especially the one she wrote where she was in the psych ward to her therapist. I was like, these feel a little personal. These feel like they should have been, kept under wraps. I felt like I was kind of invading her privacy. And so that made me a little bit uncomfortable. Especially there's a part in that letter on page 205 where she's talking about reading Freud's letters. And she was like, they had published his love letters. And she was like, I don't think we should be reading his love letters. And it's it was so eerie because now we're reading her letters, and it felt like deja vu. Like she didn't think she should be reading Freud's like personal letters, and now we're reading her personal letters, and you know, dang, trying to get to that page. Of course, my thing wants to go off right here. Okay, so yeah, she says, let's see if I can find it again. I'm gonna skim the page, y'all. Oh, here we go. She says the book reveals, though I'm not sure anyone's love letter should be published. I mean, I don't think anything here was love related. It was just her like own kind of notes. But I'm shocked that that's not in the book because it felt like it would be on brand. And just the book in general is a con for me, even though I did like it. I felt like do we need to like kind of invade her privacy and know all of her notes and all of her thoughts and deepest darkest things, especially that letter to her psychiatrist, uh, or they call it an analyst, therapist, something like that. They called it. It just feels kind of icky, like we're reading her inner thoughts, and I feel like did we need to read her inner thoughts? But my favorite part, of course, was the poems, and the least favorite part was the letter in the psych ward. It was very vulnerable, and she was pretty much wrongly put in there. And it kind of reminded me of when I read Britney Spears books and Britney Spears autobiography and what she went through, and like involuntarily being admitted. And that's a very traumatic thing. Okay, here we go. That's a good sweet spot. You don't see my light. Um, and it felt icky reading that part. But speaking of the poems, let me read some. And in some of these, she does talk about dying. So, trigger warning. So these are called undated poems. It has the whole section. So on page 19, this one doesn't have a title. It goes, "Oh damn, I wish I were dead. Absolutely non-existent. Wow. Gone away from here, from everywhere. But how would I? It says do it, but it's crossed out. There's always bridges. The Brooklyn Bridge. She says, no, not the Brooklyn Bridge, but it's crossed out. But I love that bridge, in parentheses. Everything's beautiful from there, and the air is so clean, end of parentheses. Walking, it seems, peaceful, crossed out there, even with all those cars going crazy underneath. So I would have to be, so it would have to be some other bridge, an ugly one, and with no view except I particularly, she crossed out particularly. I like in particular all bridges. There's something about them, and besides those, she crossed out those, or these, she crossed it out. I've never seen an ugly bridge. So that's very, very sad, to think about. And then another dying one. So that's one of the poems, which I feel like is really great. Now I read one during my in my short video. I'll read another one. Stones on the walk, every color there is. I stare down at you like, and there's two words crossed out. A horizon. The space, the slash. The air is between us beckoning. And I have many stories. It says besides, but it's crossed out. Up. My feet frightened as I grasp towards you. I feel like that was really cool. But there's another part about dying in here. I'm going to go to page 139. I'm almost there. Here we go. And I love how they actually do show you like the pages that she wrote on. Shoot. And I love that they show you like the actual page that she wrote on, what it looks like, and then they show you the clean version that they wrote on. So I guess analysis would be like therapy. After 1 year of analysis, she wrote this. It says Jamaica 36/78 Dr. Mike Fair. They say it has been impossible to figure out who Dr. Mike Fair is in the note at the bottom. But here we go. Help, help, help. I feel life coming closer when all I want to do is die. Scream. You begin and ended in air, but where was the middle? So this is like another poem type thing, but it's also about dying, which is very sad that she like kept thinking about that. And I'm gonna share some more things before I get to my overall opinion. Oh, and then one really cute thing, she gave herself a bunch of nicknames, which I think is cute. Um, I guess now we would call it alter egos, I guess. Oh, this is another thing where she has all of the little arrows and stuff that she wrote on the paper on the side where they copied it. But here it goes. She's writing a letter to someone, I think. Forgive us for being sentimental. If only. Hope this finds you feeling just great. No, that's not what I want to say. And it says illegible. So she scratched out something, but they didn't know what it was. I mean, forgive me. She has an arrow pointed to here. For being sentimental. I'm so glad you were born. And that I'm, she put alive, but she crossed it out. Living at the same time as you. She puts another arrow, a long red arrow. You got something the way you've moved along these years. Slow up. Mate, late, rate 8. Happy birthday, but she crosses it out. I think it was for someone's birthday. Love, we all love you. And then underneath that it says, no, I mean, and she crosses it out. And then it says, love, we all love you. Noodle, Sam, Max, Clump, Sugar Finny, Pussy, and all the rest. So the note says, the short prose piece and the variation on it on the following pages, very likely written on the occasion of Norman Ralston's birthday. She gave herself pretty nicknames. One day she signed the note with Noodle, Sam, Max, Clump, Sugar Finny, Pussy, and so on. An identity name, the little funny imp. It was a very attractive aspect of her personality. She had such a great sense of humor. That was in his book, Marilyn Among Friends, which I think is very cute, that she had her own little, like, nickname she gave herself. Oh, and then this other thing I just want to talk about. She drew, I showed one of her drawings, but she drew on the page, and I thought it was cute. If I can find it. It says 187 in my notes. Okay. So on the page with her actual notes, if you can see, if it'll focus, there's like little smiley faces. I don't know if you'll be able to see it really. Oh yeah, there we go. So there's that. I thought that was cute. And then the last thing I want to share is about her family. And it's a few pages over. Oh, no, it is not a few pages over. It's like a section over. Wait. Oh, when I put the book down, I went further back because I flopped the pages. Okay. Oh. So she's talking about her family. So she has a history of mental health issues in her family, which a lot of people do. I think Paula was a friend or a therapist. This book, I'm going to be honest, the book was a lot. So we're going to talk about it. Paula, dear, you asked me yesterday why I felt somehow. I'm only conceiving of it this morning. That if I don't have the control or the will to make myself do anything simple and do it right, would I would never be able to act or do anything. I know it sounds crazy, maybe even superstitious. I don't know. I don't know anything. Something has happened, I think, to make me lose my confidence. And something's underlined. I don't know what it is. All I know is I want to work. Work is underlined. Oh, Paula, I wish I knew why I'm so anguished, so she said. I think maybe I'm crazy like all the other members of my family were. When I was sick, I was sure I was. I'm so glad you are with me. You are with me here. And she underlined with. So that makes me like think, she's very sad about her life and how it was going. And my thing is being, I feel like my camera's not focusing. It's really weird. But anyway, it makes me think like she had all this sadness and things going on with her, and she didn't know how to deal with them. So I feel like that's really sad. All right, let me get back to my notes. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to share my overall opinion now. I love that we get an intimate look into Marilyn Monroe's mind, but I do feel like this is another thing that we're taking from her, that is taken from her. Everything about her has been monetized and sensationalized since her untimely death. So while I love reading her poems the most, I do wish she could have published them herself, so she could have control over that. So I love Marilyn. I love seeing these things of her, but once again, given for public consumption, and nothing about her seems to be have like gone with her to heaven or to the grave or whatever you believe. Nothing went with her. Everything's out there for us all to do. We can buy all her clothes. Well, not all of them. Well, Kim Kardashian could wear all her clothes. You could wear her clothes. You can buy her jewelry. Like, it's just like there's nothing left of her that went with her, or that we don't, I feel like that we don't know, or that we don't make up, like that movie Blonde, which is made up a bunch of stuff, which is crazy to me. So yeah, I'm going to talk about it in my rant in a minute, but I really thought I was going to be like, oh, I'm going to be rejuvenated and really inspired by this. And like, I am, but not in the way I thought I would be. I thought I'd be inspired to write poems and poetry, but now I'm inspired in a different way, and not in like kind of an angry way. But anyway, I'm still going to give it a 10 out of 10, because it does give me a lot to think about how we treat celebrities and how we kind of like commodify them and make them like objects. So my rant is called Parasocial Overload. I thought this book would inspire me creatively when reading Marilyn's poetry, but even those and the rest of the book made me sad. It made me think like, how much do we really need to know about public figures? Like, why do we know so much? Do we really need to be seeing their private notes, their poems, and their letters that they sent to each other, especially the one in the sideboard? That's crazy to me. I'm a huge diehard Marilyn Monroe fan, but even I was weirded out. LOL. Like, do we need to know all of these things about her? Like, really? Um, there are some notes and poems that I never want to see the light of day. For me personally, I can't imagine dying and people, let's just put it in this book. Like, that sounds crazy to me. And you have no choice on whether it gets published or not. They're just gonna do it, which I feel like is a lot. What happened with her life, like things of hers are just, not saying like preserve everything she's ever done and don't let people see it or anything, but I feel like there should be a different way to do it. Like, of course, her house, you can't do anything about a house. Like, you gotta sell the house. But like, you can have her clothes, you can have her shoes, you can wear her clothes on the red carpet. Like, it just feels like a lot. And that's insane to think about. Like, that's what this book is, like, kind of against, without her knowledge. They're just doing it. Even though I loved her poetry so much, I wish she could have been the one to share it. Instead, we have this example of parasocial overload, where it's just so much of her personal life. I'm surprised they did not put any like love letters from her and like Joe and like Arthur Miller and like her first husband. I think she was only married 3 times, I think, from what I can remember. After I said I'm a diehard fan, I don't even remember. But anyway, um, yeah, I didn't realize how like some of these. I'm not gonna lie, I did say in my short video some of these are kind of boring, but notes, because I mean they're notes that you make. I mean, I guess people don't make hard like notes on paper as much anymore, but like if you make a note in your phone, it's kind of like that, and it just feels like really invasive. And I feel like I've read the poems before, but I don't think I've ever. I know I said I read it before, but I feel like, did I read it the whole way through, or did I skim it? because I was a little overwhelmed by how much like really personal stuff, and like there wasn't too much about her marriages. There was like kind of a section like where she was with Arthur Miller, um, and she did talk about their marriage and her struggles with trying to have a child, um, and their struggles like otherwise outside of the marriage because he kind of felt like they said in the section like his intellectual friends or something, he didn't think they approved of her, and it's kind of crazy to me because you're the one married to her, but with men it's a whole thing. But yeah, have you read Fragments by Marilyn Monroe? What do you think of it? Or what is your favorite Marilyn Monroe artifact or memorabilia? Let me know. I mean, I guess I would recommend it, but it is sad to think about. Like everything in her life has been commodified and sensationalized pretty much. And it's like, what did she take to heaven with her? Like nothing. Even when she was dying, you know, there were people outside the house. Like it just feels like she has nothing that was left for her, like just to have for herself. But yeah, let me know what you think about the book if you've read it, or maybe you will read it. Maybe you're like, I'm intrigued by your horror. Let me go read it. Let me know what you think of it, and I will see you all next week.